Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Father's Day. Yay. I would like to invite all the fathers in the room to stand. Thank you. Thank you. And now those of you who are grandfathers, stay standing. How many grandfathers do we have? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I have something I want to read to you. Today is for the fathers. It is for the grandfathers, uncles, brothers, friends, and sons. And for the most important man in anyone's life, the one who gave us life. Here's to you, the dads who play endless games of go fish with their kids and always let them win. And those who always played to win every time, thinking that their children would grow stronger through defeat. This is for the fathers who worked in fields and factories, taught in classrooms, or sat in office cubicles 8 long hours a day. Here's to those who performed life-saving surgeries and those who drove their truck through long days and nights. Here's to those who loved every minute of their labor, and to those who only worked so their families could survive. To the sleepless dads who have waited in silent fear that their babies wouldn't make it through the night, or their teenagers survive their first time driving alone. Those who lost children, and those who found them in different ways. Here's to tears not shed and hugs not given for fear of appearing weak. Here's to dads who build with hammer and saw and those who wouldn't know how, the fathers who are afraid of spiders and yet can slay the great dragon of fear in their children. The fathers who tried and those who didn't. The fathers who gave us life and walked away, and those who stayed long past the life of their marriage to give something to their children. The fathers who hurt because their children have been kept from them, and those who are both father and mother. Stay-at-home dads and stay-away dads, the ones we wanted but never knew. The helpless, hurting father, and the brave, strong one. And for all the ways of fatherhood, here's to you. Thank you. Dads come with so much stuff. I think next to mother, they come with so much stuff. Maybe even fathers more so, because fathers have such a trip laid on them through our culture about how they're supposed to be. And the truth is just men are men, women are women. They all come the way that they are, and no one of us fits in a prepackaged mold of who we are supposed to be. And yet, for all that anyone gives, whether it's a blood child or a stepchild or a neighborhood kid, whether it's for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, as Michael Beckwith says, there is that gift that comes under the name of Father. So I want to honor that this day. But I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about masculine. Because masculine is not limited to gender. There is a masculine energy in the universe, and we like to say all men that are anatomically in alignment with that must be a certain way, and it's ridiculous. And then we say, well, women, you can't be masculine. And I don't know if you've looked at me lately. I dress pretty, but I have a lot of yang energy going on inside of me. of men who are equally gentle and compassionate and caring. We come as whole packages. And yet on this day that we are honoring the idea of father, I want to look at this idea of masculine. Masculine, that directive flow of the universe. Masculine, that idea that sets a goal in motion. Masculine, the seed that is implanted in the holy womb of creation. That masculine idea that is not limited to gender. And I know that sometimes people say to me, "Oh, Barbara, but you don't know, my dad was really hard on me." And I say, good, because I'm reminded of a poem from Rumi. It's from his book, The Core of Masculinity. And he says, the core of masculinity does not derive from being male, nor friendliness from those who console. Your old grandmother says, maybe you shouldn't go to school today, you look a little pale. Run when you hear that. A father's stern slaps are better. Your bodily soul wants comforting. The severe father wants clarity. He scolds, but eventually leads you into the open. Pray for a tough instructor to hear and act and stay within you. We have been busy accumulating solace. Make us afraid of how we were. Wow, that's masculine. Oh, but Barbara, I want to be comforted. No, you don't. Oh, Barbara, I want someone to agree with my pain and suffering. No, you don't. You want something to knock you out of the way that you see life. You want something to call you to a higher level of being so that you can be who you knew was in you, who you knew you could be. That's masculine, and it is not limited to gender. So this masculine idea in life, for me, is all about creation. It's all about self-discipline. It's all about setting my cause in motion. It's not about comfort. And comfort isn't weak. It's not weak. There's a time for comfort. I just don't have a lot of it. There's a time for solace. You know, some of my best teachers have not been those that wrapped their arms around me and patted me on the back and said, "There, there." I didn't want to have "there, there." I wanted something to help me get out of where I was and help me go someplace new. And I know that when people come to see me, that's a common theme, is that there seems to be this idea that my job, because I'm a minister, is that my job is to be sweet and loving and pat people on the head and agree with them about how the world has done them wrong and all their problems, and that's not me. I just finished one cycle of my women's circles last week, and as people were talking about the changes that they went through over the 12-year cycle that it's on, not one of them was grateful for how the circle had let them stay where they were. And when people talk to me and they thank me for what I have given them, it's never about how I was soft and gentle and sat with them while they explained their problems to me. It was all, thank you for the push. Thank you for that direction. Thank you for helping me get out of where I was so that I could go and be somewhere new. That's masculine. Nothing wrong with feminine. Sometimes when I'm freaking out, I really want a hug. But I don't want to stay in that hug, because if I stay in that hug, it's a prison. I want to burst free from that self-imposed limitation in life and move out into something else. That's masculine. That's a directive force. When the farmer plants the seed is a masculine idea. The fertile soil of mind, or the field, is feminine. It takes that seed and it will give it whatever it needs to bring it forth into fruition so the farmer can harvest it. The soil doesn't say, "Hey, this is a dandelion. I thought you wanted corn." It doesn't say that. All it does is say, grow, grow, grow. That's all it does. It just gives to it. That's feminine. The seed, that seed of an idea, that seed of a direction, is that me? That seed of movement and motion is masculine. And as we move into our lives wanting a harvest, we have got to figure out what kind of seed we want. Seeds are so picky. They are so picky. It reminds me when people say, oh, Barbara, you're so controlling. You're so picky. You bet I am. This is my life. I'm going to control it. I'm going to decide what I want. When you put a tomato seed in the ground, it doesn't say, well, I know I came from two indeterminate parents, but I'm going to become determinate. It doesn't say that I know the package says I'm a red tomato, but I'm going to be a yellow tomato. Those seeds are so picky. You've got to decide whether it's going to be an early tomato or a mid-season tomato or a late-season tomato, whether it's going to be a big tomato or a little tomato. You've got to decide whether it's a juicy tomato or a meaty tomato. Those seeds are so picky because that's the masculine part of life. It says, don't be wimpy. Don't be wishy-washy in what you want out of life. Have the courage to stand up and pick your direction. And then have the discipline to stick with it. That's masculine. I celebrate that. That idea, yay, yay. I celebrate that idea. You know, we've got the commercials coming on now for the Olympics. I love the Olympics. Funny thing is about Olympians is that, reminds me of the bobsled, Jamaican bobsled sing, crew, I'm feeling very Olympic today. They don't just get up and feel very Olympic. They start when they're 4 years old. They start when they're 6 years old. They start when they're 8 years old and they say, this is what I want. And then they're willing to do it over and over and over and over again to get good at it, to be the best that they can be. They're willing to stay true to that seed of an idea that says there's a possibility here, and I'm going to refine it, and I'm going to define it, and I'm going to go for it, and I'm not going to be deterred. I'm not going to let go of it just because my body wants something else. Just because my body says I'm tired. Just because my body said I've already done this 10 times, why do I have to do it again? Just because my body says, why don't you take a break? By the time they get to London, there will be so many times where they had to stand tall in the midst of so many distractions, so many temptations, to be able to go for what they want and get what they are after. And I submit to you today, stand tall. Don't give in to the distractions of life. Don't crumble over something little. Let it make you strong. They say if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. Well, you're not dead. So go ahead and be stronger. Toughen up. People say, oh, they said a bad thing to me. So what? So what? Toughen up. Toughen up. Go for what you want and don't be deterred. Allow yourself to see your goal clearly because it is your life that is on the line. It's your money, it's your physical state of your body, it's your relationships, it's your joy in life, whether or not you're going to have a happy day, it's yours that's on the line. And someone else comes up to you and they say, oh, come on, crumble. Oh, come on, be small. Oh, come on, give in to that pettiness. And I say, don't do it. Don't do it. Stand tall. Go for what you want. This is not a teaching for wimps. This asks you to look at what's going on in your life and say, that's not real. That's not real. This pain is not real. This circumstance is not real. There is a higher truth going on right now, and I'm going to hang on till it shows up. And I'm not going to give in, and I'm not going to give up until I can hold it in my hand, and then I will have the life that I want. You're worth nothing less. And so people say, oh, my father slapped me. And I go, good, good. I remember a story about Ron Howard when he was Opie Taylor. And he was on the set. And his father came in front of everybody and bent him over his knee and spanked him. And he went to whatever the guy was, the sheriff. Very famous guy, Andy Griffin. And said, my father spanked me. And he looked at Opie and he said, you had it coming. And now we're so afraid. We're so afraid that someone might do us wrong, that someone might offend us, not be politically correct. Someone might vote for someone other than we think that we would like to vote for. Someone may think a little bit differently. Someone may try to get in front of us in the line. And we say, oh, they slapped me either physically or metaphorically. And I say, well, maybe you had it coming. Maybe you needed like Cher and Moonstruck. Maybe that maybe he needed to snap out of it. And maybe we need that too. Maybe we're stronger than we think. Maybe we're more clear than we know ourselves to be. Maybe we can go for what we want and get it. But I got to tell you, this teaching is not for wimps. It requires great courage, great strength, great discipline. Thank you, Cassie, for your words, and I know how you've changed over the last 2 years. I've watched you. And you're right, you come to class, and what do I tell you? Stop thinking what you're thinking. Stop saying what you're saying. If you've got to, just close your mouth and don't say anything. You'll be better off. Don't listen to other people unless their lives are going great. Don't let other people tell you what you can and cannot do unless they've already done the impossible and they're saying you can too. Don't let other people determine what you're going to have in your life and who you're going to be. This teaching requires great strength. It requires you to rise up from the ashes every time you set yourself on fire. Nobody is doing it but you. It requires you get up every time you fall down. It requires you stand tall and hold your head high, even when you think you've fallen on your face. It requires that you take every second of every moment, of every hour, of every day anew, and you go for what you want. If you find that you have planted a field of dandelions, don't sit down and cry. Plow it up again. Plant it again. Be a little more vigilant. Be a little clearer. Be a little more active in what you're creating in your life. And I got to tell you, nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. But you can have the life that you want. I love my license tag. It says, be more, and it comes from a quote from Ernest that says, if you want to have more in your life, you must first become more. And so if you want to experience being a winner in life, you've got to first feel like a winner inside of you. If you want to experience being confident on the outside, you must first experience confidence within you. And that means that either you don't crumble or you get back up as soon as you realize it. If you want to experience having the kind of life that opens doors for you, where you can do what you want to do and go where you want to go and buy what you want to buy and have what you want to have, you've got to be that person inside. And even if you don't know anybody like that, make it up. How would my fantasy person handle that? Well, how would Donald Trump handle that? He would laugh at that criticism and, comb his hair down. And so what you do is you create a mental equivalent. And you laugh at that criticism. And you work on your image. How would Bill Gates look at that? Well, he would gather a bunch of specialists and he would fix it. So great, gather a bunch of specialists and fix it, whether it's your life or your bank account or your car. How would that part of you that already knows how to be live if you gave it full rein? Sometimes I think that we're just walking along in life Many of us with our eyes closed, and we stick our own leg out in front of us, and then we fall. And then we fall and we sit and we say, oh my gosh, life tripped me. Nobody can trip you. Nobody can take anything away from you. No one can keep your good from you. It's just you. And if for some reason your life has hit some bumps in the road, understand that this is temporary. Even in the Bible it says it came to pass. It came to pass and not to stay. You're walking through the valley. And I walked through the valley of the shadow of death. And it was just a shadow of death. Death wasn't even there. It was a shadow. I walked through it. You're not supposed to stop. You're not supposed to camp. You're not supposed to build condos. You're supposed to walk through it. And to walk through it, you got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Even if you don't know what you're doing, fake it. Act like you do. Look good while you're walking through the valley. How you doing? I'm walking through the valley. That's masculine. That's masculine. Feminine's great. I gave a great talk on the feminine whatever, back at Mother's Day. You're feminine something. I gotta celebrate masculine. I love masculine. I love the idea that says I can create my reality. Nobody's gonna hand it to me on a silver platter, but I can go out and I can get my platter and I can fill it up and I can give it to myself and I can have that life that I want. I love the idea that says I have the ability to plant seeds in my life, seeds of thought, that I'm perfect, whole and complete, just the way that I am, that I'm beautiful, that I deserve to have the best things in life, that I know that I can open up and accept the good that is pouring into my life, through my life, out of my life, right here and right now. I can do this. I can be happy. I can do this. I can get through this. I can rise above. I can find the blessing in it. I can have this. And that's masculine. And I love that. And those of you that carry it genetically, God bless you. And those others of us that have to pick it up and put it on, God bless us. Because it is what directs us. Then all we have to do is have the chutzpah, the courage, the strength, and the discipline to follow it through and reap the harvests of our planting. And so it is.